The BlackRock Bitcoin ETF, the Invesco Bitcoin ETF, the Valkyrie, Fidelity, all the Bitcoin ETF applications have been delayed by the SEC for 45 days. Now, we were discussing this in the last stream that I thought that was probably a very likely scenario that we're going to see them delayed. It would just seem a bit weird to me that the SEC would get smacked down in court 2 days before they're supposed to rule on a Bitcoin ETF. Of course, they were waiting for the Grayscale case to play out. Once that played out, they're not going to make an instantaneous decision. They're going to need some time to decide, well, how are we going to react? Are we going to appeal this for certain? Are we just going to take the L and try to spin this as some kind of win where it's like, well, we're just going to follow the rule of law now. See, we're good actors. We're going to approve a Bitcoin ETF. Aren't we good boys over here at the SEC? Of course they're not. But maybe that's how they'll try to spin it. Remains to be seen, of course, but definitely, impacted the market a lot today. When we got word that those spot Bitcoin ETF applications were delayed by the SEC, well, here's what the markets did. Ba-dunk-da-dunk, right back down. You could have gone on holiday for 3 days, come back, and the price would be exactly the same as when you left. That whole Grayscale Bitcoin ETF speculation pump, right back down, baby. Right back down. Back down, of course, to our key area of price support. We still have not seen the price close under the very, very key level of $25,000. If we start closing under 25K, things can get a little bit dicey. Right now, still maintaining above 25K. In fact, today's sell-off only brought us down to $25,600, which was higher than the sell-off of August 22nd, which was $25,400, and higher than the sell-off of August 17th, which was $25,200. So it wasn't even that bad. It wasn't. What? Who's selling their Bitcoin because the Bitcoin ETF got delayed, man? Basically, everybody knew it was going to get delayed. The surprise would have been them actually doing something about it. Delay, I felt like, was the most likely path forward. And yet, here the market goes. Got to overreact to everything happening in the market. Of course we do. Bitcoin now back under the 200-day exponential moving average, one of those key bull bear lines. At least we're still holding support at 26K for the time being. Of course, if we continue this price action, we are in danger of pretty quickly losing that bull cross that we had down here on the MACD, on the daily. We'll see how that plays out. Need bulls to step it up here, but I feel like there's not going to be a lot of stepping it up here until we get some real definitive news in the market where the SEC comes out and says, yes, definitively approving a Bitcoin ETF, or yes, no, we're never going to approve any Bitcoin ETFs, not under my reign. Gary Gensler is not going to take the L. He's going to make everybody take the L except him. The American people, of course, lose in that situation. And I don't think BlackRock likes losing. So we'll see if BlackRock gets their way or if Gary Gensler gets their ways. My money's on BlackRock. I feel like they're slightly more powerful and influential than Gary at the SEC. Goldman Gary. Fun week in crypto, isn't it? And the sentiment's just so funny for me because if you bought on the BlackRock news initially, because we're basically back to the price where the price of Bitcoin was before the BlackRock news even came out, right? So if you bought on the BlackRock news, you're like, whoa, BlackRock's going to get a Bitcoin ETF. That's going to be massive. That's going to send the price of Bitcoin going to the moon. So I'm going to buy here at $26,000, $27,000, $28,000, $29,000, $30,000, whatever it might be. Okay, sure. Or if you bought on the Grayscale news, holy cow, Grayscale won their case. This is amazing. I bought Bitcoin. It's going to go to 100K. This news is so fundamentally bullish long term that I'm going to buy and hold a position. But you're not going to sell if the SEC delays its ETF decision. Right? Well, a lot of people answered that question with, no, I'm going to panic sell immediately based on the news all the time. Panic buy, panic sell, panic buy, panic sell, buy high, sell low, buy high, sell low. It's the mantra of the bear market, baby. You got to buy high, you got to sell low. That is how winning is done. Not actually, that's how you lose all your money. A lot of people are getting chopped up in these markets trying to chase every tiny little couple percent move. You're picking up pennies in front of a steamroller, man. And obviously, hey, trading's great. Lots of opportunities out there to make money with trading, obviously. But if you're moving in and out of huge positions all the time and trying to be a long-term investor, but are getting chopped up on the daily because you're running around with panic all the time, you got to chill out, man. You got to chill out. Think about this big picture we got going here for these markets, because the Bitcoin ETF will come at some point. It's just a question of when. Now, this is from Eric Balkunis. So he is an ETF analyst for Bloomberg. Him and James Seifert, also a Bloomberg analyst. So these guys, what they do, their thing, they're analysts for ETFs. They sit around and with their big old brains, bringing stuff out, thinking, what's going on with the ETF markets? Well, these nerds, these guys, they've upped their odds to 75% for a spot Bitcoin ETF launching this year. And if we have to extend it out to next year, they say it's a 95% chance by the end of 2024. That's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy. Those are betting man's odds right there. I like it. 75% this year, pretty good. I think that may even be slightly overly optimistic. I honestly would not be surprised to see SEC push this until the last possible damn moment, which would be March next year. Wouldn't be surprised, wouldn't be blown away, but I really feel like this is probably the moment when we get a Bitcoin ETF approved. And these times that we're living through right now are the pre-Bitcoin ETF era, the final moments of it, which means the final moments of the price being down where it is. Not saying we can't go a bit lower, not saying the price is going to take off in the immediate short term. I'm talking 6 months here, a year from now. Where's price going to be? Once that Bitcoin ETF does get approved, expect the God candle, the candle of candles. It'll come. It'll come. Imagine the hype whenever Bitcoin ETFs are being sold by BlackRock. When the news starts spreading that the biggest asset manager in the world is selling Bitcoin ETFs, that the third biggest asset manager in the world, Fidelity, is selling Bitcoin ETFs, and everybody else, of course. Pretty cool stuff. Now, the analysts here from Bloomberg, they also said that the unanimity and the decisiveness of the ruling for the grayscale case leaves the SEC with very little wiggle room to actually continue to deny spot Bitcoin ETFs in the future, because they finally got called on their BS by a judge. The judge basically said, well, if all the stuff out there for fraud manipulation is good enough for Bitcoin futures ETFs, there's absolutely no reason why it's not good enough for a Bitcoin spot ETF. Maybe the SEC will really just decide to pull everyone's pants down and give them a good old screw and actually take away Bitcoin futures ETFs as well, which actually would not be a bad thing, because Bitcoin futures ETFs are paper garbage. No Bitcoin spot or futures ETFs. I guess that would be a bargain to take, but we will get the Bitcoin spot ETF simply because I think it's BlackRock, and BlackRock, Larry Fink's not a man you tell no to. James, the other Bloomberg analyst here, he says next dates to watch are October. So we have middle of October now. So it's a 45-day delay by the SEC. So that brings us up to BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF second deadline coming on the 17th of October, along with VanEck, WisdomTree, Invesco, and Wise. Valkyries is on the 19th of October. And what do we got here? Bitwise is on the 16th of October. So a lot of them coming up pretty gosh darn soon. Yeah. Will they get approved in October? Well, these guys think there's a pretty good chance, 75% chance, because the third deadline after that comes in January, mid-January. And the final deadline comes in the middle of March next year, which is a month before the Bitcoin halving. That would be the timing, wouldn't it? I mean, really, if they approved a Bitcoin ETF a month before the frickin' Bitcoin halving, man, dude, I tell you. Reminder, too, that Mike Novogratz, big venture capital guy, founder of Galaxy Digital. He said that his sources inside BlackRock, his sources inside of Fidelity, two of the major asset managers, number one and number three globally asset managers trying to get Bitcoin ETF products approved. The people in those organizations said the Bitcoin ETFs are coming. It's not a question of if they're going to be approved this time. BlackRock's in the game. It's going to get approved. It's a question if, not when. And they said 4 to 6 months. Now, that 4 to 6 month deadline that they gave basically meant that all the big players knew that the delay was going to happen for the first round. But they're looking ahead, possibly January next year, more likely in March. The SEC may just to screw with everybody and to continue to annoy all of us, push it right until the last damn minute, and then finally be forced to, okay, fine, you have a Bitcoin ETF. We're going to delay it as long as possible because we're spiteful bastards. Wouldn't be surprised. Now, by the way, if you are a cryptocurrency trader, you got to get yourself an account over on BYBIT. It is the best place to be doing your trading. They got crazy good spot altcoin markets with all kinds of exotic altcoins. They got very popular futures markets, a very interesting and popular copy trading service as well. And if you use the link down below in the description, you're going to get yourself eligible for up to $30,000 in trading and deposit bonuses, as well as exclusive trading fee discounts. So check it out if you are a trader, that is. I want to share this as well. So Forbes has come out. Is it time to start dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin? Where you been at, Forbes? August 30, 2023. Come on, Forbes. Get with the program. We've been DCAing this bad boy all year. All year. Every week. A little bit more Bitcoin, a little bit more Bitcoin, a little bit more Bitcoin. DCA is the way, especially during a bear market. Now is the time to be accumulating because we are in the accumulation period. At least that's what I'm seeing in the charts. Not financial advice. Of course, can't tell you what to do with your money. Just letting you know what I'm doing with my money. But Forbes out here saying that, well, might be a good time to start dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin. And I agree. They're a bit late to the party, but I agree. I agree. We are now in this period where we are going to get a Bitcoin ETF approved. Most likely, there's always a chance that Gary Gensler decides to go down with a ship and just burn the whole damn thing down. Okay, sure. But more likely than not, we are going to see a Bitcoin ETF actually getting approved. And when that happens, it's got to be off to the races for the Bitcoin markets. And these kind of prices will be the prices where in 12, 18, 24 months, people are looking back and they're saying, if only I had bought when it was 25K, I saw the BlackRock news, but I didn't buy any Bitcoin. Yep. All been there before. I like this chart shared from Glassnode here by bitcoinnews.com. So Bitcoin withdrawals from exchanges are outpacing deposits at the highest rates since the FTX collapse. That's nuts. So right now, there are currently 58,000 Bitcoin being withdrawn for every 45,000 deposited. So again, we are in some crazy, crazy situation right here for the total exchange volume. The total amount of Bitcoin on exchanges keeps going down. Right now, we are continuing to see a big disparity between Bitcoin coming into exchanges and Bitcoin being taken off of exchanges. It's pretty crazy stuff. Think about the potential impact of that long. And we're in a market situation right now where most people aren't paying attention. Most people aren't here. Most people don't want to hear anything about crypto. They don't hear anything about Bitcoin. People have been burned. They left. They bought high. They sold low. I get it. It hurts. But people who are still here paying attention, you who are still here paying attention, you have the ability to see this information, to understand that during this still relatively boring and bearish time in the market when volumes are low, interest is low from the public, traditional finance managers are getting in, major asset managers are getting in, big stories are happening, big adoption is happening, and we are seeing on-chain data irrefutably proving that massive amounts of Bitcoin continue to be being stacked during this period. I wanted to share this chart with you as well from the dudes over at Stack Money Lizards. Basically, just showing a nice nice little chart here of where Bitcoin could go in the next cycle, based on, of course, a bit of inspiration from older cycles. So maybe we get back up to around 48K by the time of the Bitcoin halving, for example. Then our new all-time high sometime potentially in 2025. New highs overall for Bitcoin sometime late in 2024, maybe 4 months, for example, after the Bitcoin halving in April. We'll see Bitcoin back over 70K. Then we start the slow grind up to the new all-time high, whatever that's going to be. I'm still thinking 150K is a nice, modest price target. Maybe things get a little bit crazier near the peak, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. I like that chart. It's a good one. And I wanted to share this with you from Coinfessions to wrap this segment up. He says, me and my buddies made tens of millions of dollars in the last bull market. Truth is, we're not good at anything except for being early. Now, I personally spend my days LARPing as a trader on Twitter, X. We are living proof that you don't have to be extraordinary at anything in life. You just have to be early. I've got good news for you. It's a very true story. I look back to the last cycle for me, and actually during the crazy days of the bull market, I actually got chopped up quite a bit by chasing around a lot of stuff, trying to hop onto new narratives and stuff like that, instead of just sitting on the bags that I had packed during the bear market. I packed up huge amounts of Ethereum, for example, bunches of Matic. And okay, I sold my Matic for a lot of profits, and that was great. And I sold my Cardano for lots of profits, and that was great. And I got some nice venture investments. That was great. But, some of my simplest plays, just buying truckloads of Ethereum and, unloading some of it, were the simplest ways to make money. And I really think that right now, again, nothing goes up. If you buy today, your prices could go down tomorrow. Keep that in mind. I'm looking long term. I've been buying a link position recently, for example, and that chain link position currently sitting at a loss. That's okay. That's okay. Because I'm looking at not what's happening tomorrow, next week, next month, even the next few months. I'm looking at where is this particular asset going to be that I think has got some fundamental strength to it at the next cycle peak, or not necessarily peak. I'm not going to time the top perfectly, obviously, but if I can get out at a great profit, fantastic. And simply being early, in which we are now early in the cycle, even if prices go down a bit, no one's going to perfectly buy the bottom and then perfectly sell the top. Maybe like one dude. So the odds are massively against you. But if you can find those fundamentally strong assets, dollar cost average into them, think long term, you're early right now. You're early to this cycle. Late 2024, early 2025, it's going to be late to the cycle. That's when people like you and me are going to be selling to the people who are showing up then, because they're late, but you're early right now.